The casting process for me is always very different depending on the project, but it's very much led by the script. I'm very much about the writing, and I'll get a script, I'll break it down into the characters in it, and then talk through with my team, with the producer and director, any kind of specific requirements, and then start putting ideas together, trying to think as laterally as I can. And then start bringing people in for audition. Well, when I've looked for deaf or hearing impaired actors in the past, I've usually either searched with Spotlight and Equity or asked around. A lot of the time it's been about word of mouth. I think there's much more visibility now for deaf and disabled actors, and it is easier to source people and find people and to see their work. What's important to me about casting deaf and disabled actors is making sure that the access is there. There have traditionally been quite big problems with access to audition spaces. With deaf and hearing impaired actors, it's the provision of interpreters, and how I'd like to get to a place where you're bringing in disabled actors for parts that aren't written as disabled, and talking to Equity and the broadcasters and producers about how we can make that possible within the timeframes that we have by making that provision, by particularly paying interpreters to attend auditions. I think it's a conundrum, the declaration of an actor's disability, because I'd like to think that, of course, it wouldn't stand in the way of their chances of getting work. At the same time, sometimes I'm actively seeking disabled actors, and if they haven't disclosed their disability, then they can be overlooked. And you know, we're sourcing actors from all kinds of places all the time, and unless we're aware of an actor's disability, it's quite hard to be conscious of casting inclusively. But I do understand an individual's need to make that decision. I think there's still a lot of work to be done about diversity in general, but particularly about disabled actors, because really we just need a greater pool to draw from. I think it goes back to wanting to see yourself on screen and see yourself reflected on the screen, thereby making acting a viable proposition for you as a profession, and the more young disabled people can see that, the more will come into the profession, and then there'll be more choice to draw from, and hopefully more experience to be gained. I think, you know, there are plenty of shows on TV which have made huge progress with portraying disabled actors, including things like EastEnders, Holby, Casualty, Silent Witness. They're great examples of leaders in that field. I think openness to diversity has improved hugely. I think there's still a long way to go, and I think it's a complicated subject, which isn't only about casting, it's about writing, it's about the writers, the people behind the camera, it's about reflecting people's experience, and you know, I think things are a lot healthier than they were 10, 15 years ago, but I do think there's a long way to go still.